Warning, spoilers ahead for The Rings of Power Episode 4. The Lord of the Rings and Amazon's The Rings of Power both feature Palantir stones, but is Saruman's the same one used by Numenor? J. R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth is littered with magical and ancient artifacts, mostly from ages long ended. One particular relic seen in The Lord of the Rings is Saruman's Palantir, an orb used to glimpse that which cannot be perceived by the naked eye. The Palantiri were forged by the elves before the flight of the Noldor primarily as communication devices, cell phone signal isn't great in Valinor, but could also see across great distances, as well as into the past and future. Palantir stones are very rare in the Lord of the Rings era, with only 4 still active during Frodo's journey. Saruman has 1, Sauron has 1, Denethor has 1, and the elves have 1. Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings movie trilogy focuses largely on Saruman's Palantir at the Tower of Orthanc, which is subsequently found and used by Pippin, who soon comes to regret it. In Amazon's The Rings of Power, Numenor's royal family possesses a Palantir that has shown them the island's destruction. Given how few Palantiri exist, however, is Queen Regent Miriel's stone the same one Saruman later uses in The Lord of the Rings? While absolute certainty is impossible, there's a fair chance the Palantir in The Rings of Power is the same one from The Lord of the Rings. The stones were originally crafted in Valinor, hence Galadriel telling Miriel she's familiar with their usage. Some were then taken to Numenor, and Elendil managed to carry 7 with him to Middle-earth when escaping the island's destruction. This marks the first time any Palantiri were brought onto Middle-earth's shores. The stone used by Saruman in The Lord of the Rings, therefore, Wolb originally arrived from Numenor, so could easily be the same one Miriel shows Galadriel in The Rings of Power Episode 4. In a curious change of Tolkien canon, Miriel claims her stone is the only Palantir still around. If true, hers would surely have to be the same as Saruman's, although the Rings of Power may yet prove the Queen Regent mistaken. What happened to each of the 7 Palantiri after Lord of the Rings? More than 7 Palantiri were originally made in Valinor, and more than 7 subsequently found their way Numenor. The 7 Elendil rescued from Numenor's destruction were used in Middle-earth to communicate between the various allied kingdoms. 3 are already lost by the time The Lord of the Rings begins. The oversized Osgiliath stone was set in Gondor's capital, but fell into the river Anduin during a civil rebellion. The Amon Sul and Anyumina's stones were set in Gondor's sibling kingdom of Arnor and protected when the Witch King of Angmar attacked, but then lost in a shipwreck during the migration north. Middle-earth's remaining 4 Palantiri each played a role in The Lord of the Rings. The Elistirian stone was set near Lindon and used by the elves, but could only look west toward Valinor and was taken back there when Frodo and the others left Middle-earth at the end of The Return of the King. The Anor stone stayed at Gondor's Minas Tirith and is still being used by the steward Denethor II, John Noble's character in The Lord of the Rings, in the late Third Age. The Ithil stone stood in Isildur's Minas Ithil fortress but was stolen by Sauron after he invaded. This Palantir is assumed lost when Sauron and his tower are decimated. Finally, Elendil and his sons host a Palantir inside the Tower of Orthanc, and when Saruman assumes this stronghold as his HQ, he inherits its Seeing Stone. The Orthanc stone then passes from Pippin to Gandalf before ultimately reaching Aragorn. When The Lord of the Rings ends, therefore, Aragorn holds 2 Palantiri, and the remainder are safely kept in Valinor. Join Amazon Prime, watch thousands of movies and TV shows anytime, start free trial now. The Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power continues Thursday, Friday on Prime Video.